Good morning. You want to bring us into Zoom there? We're being joined today by Rick Hall, who's one of the leaders of our Tijuana trip. Rick has been leading this ministry for, there you go, Rick. Rick, I thought we were dressing for Tijuana.
No, it's Pentecost. It's Pentecost. No, Kevin. Kevin.
It's red. I thought we said
Wow.
shirts.
You actually never wear that much protective, that many protective garments when you work. A hard hat and glasses and knee pads.
Okay. Next time.
Okay, there you go. There you go. It's good for props, though. I like it.
Well, I thought we were doing that.
There you go.
Next time.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
So Rick has been leading our Tijuana trip for, 22 years now or something, Rick? You've kind of been the lead on it.
Well, I kind of am, although, well, as we know, I might as well tell the folks, Bob Mason and Steve Borgard went to a home building mission in Honduras. And they said, man, we should be able to do something like this. And one of the guys that they were on the trip with said, oh, there's a Tijuana home building mission through Project Mercy, and you could do that. And that's how it got started. Lane Beamer, Steve Borgard, myself, and Bob Mason.
Right, and if I remember correctly, kind of in terms of the scripture we just talked about people having different roles, Tim Reischauer had raised some money to go on the trip, and he did such a good job raising money, this is at Church of the Valley over in Van Nuys, that he could pay for several people to go on the trip beyond himself. And that kind of, he was a good fundraiser. Bob Mason's a carpenter. Rick has a background as a carpenter and a handyman, among other things. So just lots of different ways people got to use their talents and their gifts to kind of bring this ministry to life.
Kevin, I don't know about you, whenever I would talk about the home building project and say, it's time to sign up for it, a lot of times people would say, well, I don't know I'm not good with construction. When we're down there, a big part of it is painting. And believe me, anybody could put paint on a house.
So do you want to talk about the history of Project Mercy for a minute here?
Sure. So like I said, those guys, we got it started. We went down and learned from a church down in San Diego. We went to Mexico with them to build a house and learned how to do it. And back then, we pre-built everything in the United States, and then we carried it over the border, which was an amazing obstacle sometimes because the border into Mexico, they don't let just anything go over the border. They want you to buy all that lumber there. So they would charge us a tax, and sometimes they'd let you go in for free. Sometimes they wouldn't even let us get the lumber in the country. So now it's changed. So the lumber is actually delivered to the job site. But the one thing that was good about the pre-build is we could do it here, in Los Angeles area. By the way, I'm in Illinois now. We moved to Illinois, so I'm 2,000 miles away and glad to be in Burbank right now because the weather is so nice here in Burbank.
Overcast today, Rick.
Oh, is it? Oh, actually, it's beautiful weather here in Chicago area. So there you go. But anyway, the good thing about the project was if we pre-built the week before on a Saturday. So the youth group and different people that couldn't go on the actual trip could be part of it and pre-build these walls and everything that we would take down. And I'll say this about a ministry like the Tijuana Home Building Ministry. We give money to the church or to any organization, but let's say this church is specifically, we give money to the church in faith that good works will be done with it. And that's what we should do. I mean, we should have faith that the church is going to do God's work with the money you give. But the Tijuana Home Build Mission is one of those times that I like to call direct results ministry, where, and Kevin, you know this too, where every dime that people give it goes to build a house for a needy family. And you don't always have to have direct results, but every now and then it's really nice to actually have that feeling that when we hand the keys over to the family at the end of the day, they have a new home. They're moving their stuff into their new home. They will sleep in a dry, comfortable home, maybe for the first time in their lives, and probably the first time they've ever had a set of keys to a front door of a house. Kevin, why don't you tell them about the houses that people are living in when we get there?
Yeah, and we can, let me step back just one little bit before that. And Todd or Dave, I have some slides there that we can go to. So Project Mercy was founded in 1991 by a woman named Paula Clausen. And she lives in San Diego. She drove down with a friend to deliver clothes to just some needy families down there. And she saw the conditions that the people were living in. If you want to go to the slide, you can see a picture of what Paula looks like, I think is the first slide there. That's Paula, little British woman who hunts us down at the border to Mexico, and then she's scary to follow as we drive into Tijuana. But yeah, she realized that, you can continue on through the slides a little bit, that's just that. And she realized that, it's 15 miles south of the United States, and not that far. San Diego is one of the richest counties in the country, and here are people living in abject poverty. Here's the family that we built for this time. If you can see the picture to the right there, that's kind of where they were living when we showed up. That's their house that they lived in, that they're sitting in front of. So those are the kinds of things. So we were talking about shacks with dirt floors, inadequate roofs, water leaks in, floors get muddy, rats, spiders, all sorts of bugs, scorpions, snakes at night. All these things get in, and the families, and particularly children, have to worry about it. Before Paula started this, the area that we built in, she estimates that probably a couple hundred kids died every year, that they have reduced that over the years now. So the area is actually, remarkably and ironically enough, the area is called Fuentes de la Valle, which translates to Valley of the Fountains. Yet not a drop of water. There's no running water, no electricity, no plumbing. When they started. Although now some of the neighborhoods do have some water access, but not necessarily at each house. They might have a spigot on every block. And some of them are starting to get some rudimentary electrical service, but still no sewage. The families scraped together enough money to buy the land or put a down payment on the land, but then they don't have enough money to build a proper house. So they scrape together pieces, sometimes garage doors, sometimes just scraps of wood. Some of these neighborhoods that they build in are basically built on top of dumps. So they go through those areas and scavenge together what they can to create a space to live in. And like I said, here's some of the houses, type of houses that they lived in. If you want to go to the next one, here's what it looks like when we show up. There's a slab. Nothing much else around on top of it. And then the next slide is what it looks like when we leave. And that's the house we just built. And the inside is the little area with a room downstairs and a sleeping loft upstairs. Rick, you got anything you want to add in? You want to jump out of the slides and go back and let's see what Rick has to add here?
The first time we built was in November of 2000. And were you on that build, Kevin?
I was not. My lovely wife was, but I was not.
Oh, that's right. Right. Donna went.
Now you know why I started going.
The women we built for were, their names were Genoveva and Luz Marie. And they lived in a little 4x8 shack, which was just some plywood, kind of, I don't know how it was held together. And they slept, both of them, on a little cot in one side of the bed, the kind of cot that, like, if you were at camp and had to sleep on it, you go, wow, I get this cot. And they both slept on that cot. I don't know how they did it. And when I asked them, which is always a question, is there a baño? Is there a bathroom anywhere nearby? They said, sí, yes, there is. And they showed me a trash can in the middle of their room. And that was our bathroom on our first trip. And you talk about do they have running water? They actually did, because the water, it had rained and the water was a stream that ran under one wall and out the other. So they kind of did have running water. They were the sweetest ladies. And we weren't sure what this ministry was going to be like when we started. And by the time we finished that first house, and actually it was so dramatic at the ending, we it was dark by the time we finished, and we didn't put on the roof. We just put on the tar paper so the rolled shingles could go on. And as we started to leave, the wind started blowing and it started raining, and the tar paper pulled up. And Bob Mason, we had the caravan of cars ready to go. Bob Mason jumped out of his truck, grabbed a ladder, said, "Get me a 2x4, give me some 16 penny nails." And in the wind and the rain, like some superhero, he climbed up on the ladder and took that board and nailed down the tar paper so it wouldn't blow away. If you were making a movie of a dramatic ending to a church ministry, that would be it. It was great. And we drove back to to Los Angeles, and that drive back can be the hardest part of the day because it's been such a long, exhausting day. We leave at 4:30 in the morning, and that time we didn't get back till 1 or 1:30 in the morning again. But everybody was so revitalized by the trip, and um, and connected, and the fellowship of working together with this family that we never knew before the day started, but we were friends with by the end of the day, just was huge for us. And we built a house for Luz Marie and Anaveva, and they could, for the first time in their lives, sleep in a dry, comfortable place.
Yeah, so we've done, I think probably now we're on 60 or 70 houses we've built over the 20 years of our ministry, at least that many.
At least.
So, and it's not just us. So Burbank teams up with Church of the Valley, and then we also team up with a church down in San Diego called Pacific Beach Christian Church. Their pastor, Brian Daly. And sometimes there's another church called Church of the Servant King, which is a Christian community. They live in community. Sometimes we've had other churches come and go, and lots of friends come out and help. So I've had people I work with come down. Rick's got some neighbors and things that I think have come down. So it ends up being a very open group of people. Not all of them are Christians, but at the end of the day, I think everyone appreciates. In fact, I have a Jewish friend who wrote to me one time after coming down with us that, he doesn't know much about Jesus, didn't have much relevance to him, but from what he read, what he saw that day, he was like, from what I read, you're doing what Jesus asks. So that's always nice to hear those things.
Kevin, can I add something there?
Sure.
We don't, when we're down there, we don't preach to the family. We don't have a service. And I've had people say to us, like, don't you have some sort of church service? The service is us serving them, and them with us building a house for them. And at the end of the day, I may be skipping ahead in your little outline there, but since I'm on Zoom and you can't stop me, I'm going to go ahead. Um, um, at the end of the day, when the house is built, we hand them the keys to the house. And here's our tie-in to Pentecost. You don't have to be able to speak good Spanish or even to be completely understood to know that when you hand those keys, we usually hand them to the mother of the house. When we hand those keys and they cry and are so touched, you don't have, you've got a common language there. And the sermon is preached. The service is, like I said, our service is not a church service, but a service to them. And it's just so powerful for everybody. There's nobody that isn't, um, that's a solemn moment in the day. And we have a prayer together and we give them a Bible. And the message is, yeah, we're Christians and we built this house with you and for you because we love you like Christ would love you. But we don't have to preach that. It just happens.
Yeah. And for the most part, most of them are Christian, if not Catholic, and have, all day long, God bless you, thank you, this is God's work, thank you for being here, thank God for your group to come down. Yeah, as you said, we don't speak Spanish, but you build relationships, not just with us, the English-speaking people from America that come down, but also the people in the neighborhood, whether it's the family who we're building with. Frequently, the fathers or friends of the family come and help us on the builds. And we may not speak the same language, but we know, okay, I need you to do that, and here, hold this for me. But even, it's construction. I don't do construction. I'm not a construction person. So when Rick throws out terms like 16 penny nails and 8 penny nails, there's the big ones and the little ones. Talking saws and hammers and things that most people don't talk about. But as you get on with the day, as we start working together, you really do kind of find a common language and find out how to, work together, what an eave is, joists and all those fun things. You kind of get that language together and work together.
Aren't Eve and Joyce two girls that came with us on the trip once? Hey, speaking of language, one time, I dropped one of my earbuds. Hang on, I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. The last time I was able to go was last fall, and I was talking to the mother of the house when we got there and asking her where they wanted the windows in the house and stuff. And my Spanish is mediocre at best, and I couldn't get her name, and she repeated it to me 8 or 10 times. And finally, I said, today, in Spanish, I said, today I will call you Lucy. And she knew my name was Rick. And later in the day, every time I would need her for like, oh, where's the caulk? Where are the 16 penny nails? I would say, Lucy, and she'd go, Ricky. We had some good laughs with her, didn't we?
We did. And even some of the locals, there are some local crews who come and help us, and we've been working with some of them so long that the last trip in October that Rick was talking about was our first build back after COVID. We had stopped for a couple of years while COVID was going on. And these workers who, do they know us? I don't know, but that last build, one of the workers came to find us on our job site. We didn't need him that day. He was just delivering lumber for people, and sought out several members of our group to come over and give you a big hug. And these are not Roberto, who is not a particularly affectionate person in our past experience with him, but he was really appreciative of us, was asking everybody about them, ask how's your family, how are your kids. He's now had a couple of kids. So it was really nice to see these relationships, not just among our group, but starting to be with the people in that community and the people that we're building houses for. So it's a wonderful opportunity to have some time together and to build some relationships. And really to me, it really makes it real. Where Rick talked about, you see where your money gets spent, but it's also an opportunity that you really realize what poverty is, what the situation is at our border. It's not just an article on the news or a piece you see in the newspaper. It really is. It humanizes them. It really you really see the people who all these news stories affect, and they're not criminals. They're not drug users. The neighborhood we're in, we've had issues with concerns when there were gang wars and drugs and things like that. That Paula had said to us, listen, these neighborhoods are so poor, they don't have drug issues. The gangs don't want anything to do with them because they've got no money.
Yeah, the only time I felt at all in danger was from the federales who we had to cross through a toll booth, and they stopped us because they wanted to see our girls, the blonde girls in our van. Hey, I want to tell a quick little story. And I know we don't want to go too long, but one time, you don't know what doors God is going to open up for you. And we were down there building a house, and a woman came up to us and said that her house had burned down, which is a common thing in the winter for them to try and keep their little shacks warm, they're sometimes very often have an open fire in the house. And her house had burnt down, and they had lumber there for her to build a new house from Project Mercy. And she asked if we could build it. And this is early on when I wasn't sure we could build the house we were building, let alone build another house. And I said, I'm sorry, we can't do it. And then somebody told me when her house burnt down the week before or 10 days before, her baby had died in the fire. And that just flipped a switch for us. And we went over and split off part of our crew, and we worked on her house, and we got all four walls up and the windows and the doors in, and got a huge start to her house. And it was funny, what I didn't think we could do, we did. And I really believe that's God giving us the strength to do it. We got the other house completely built. And then for this other lady, we got her house started so one of the local crews could finish it up. It's those kind of experiences that you can't predict or expect, and not even sure you can handle until you actually have to, you know?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that well. Um, yeah, and on top of that, I think the reason it came out is because she was helping cook food for us. They were making some chicken or some enchiladas or something for us.
It was mole. It was the best mole I've ever had.
Right.
And I don't know if I told you or not, but I saw them making it. Not everybody saw it. They were just stirring it with a piece of lumber, a stick.
I saw it over an open fire, and the fact that it was chicken was surprising. So we have we have had some very memorable experiences, and I think that's the kind of the nugget that comes out of it, is that everyone who's ever gone down comes back and talks about how it's really affected them and how they really see kind of a different perspective and really see how things work down there. Anything else you want to talk about there, Rick?
No, I just think that tying this ministry to Pentecost is just perfect, because it really is a time when language is not a barrier, but the love of Christ is what unites us all. And it's a common language that we speak. And then the other scripture talking about everybody has their gifts. I don't care what you do. My daughter went down once. She painted for most of the day, but then she hung out with the kids in the house and played with their dogs and played games. There are people that come and have coloring books and help the kids do color, enjoy books and stuff. I don't care what your gifts are. You can do something on with this ministry. You can be part of it. And maybe you're being a part of it is donating to it so the houses can get built.
And also on that note, one trip we went down, a woman named Donna Neff joined us. And for those who don't know, since none of you know Donna, she's blind. And she came down and sat underneath a shade and entertained the kids and sat and talked with the mother. She didn't speak Spanish, so she didn't talk with her, but they communicated and sat under the tent all day long. And she got something out of it. I think the family really appreciated her being there to see someone who wasn't going to let being blind stand in her way. Todd or Dave, if you want to go, I have some slides of our recent build, and we can just quick go through those so you can see what this. Like I said, this is the slab where this is how it started. This is the walls going up on the inside. This house had a nice pink interior. And these are some of the youth that there. Of the 30 that were with us on this last build, about 10 of them were teenagers, high school kids who came down with us. And this is kind of halfway through. If you see, these tires are helping hold up the foundation to the house. Hopefully that works. That's as the house goes up and the roof is on. There's our buddy Andy caulking some windows in. And then these are, once again, some more youth. And then that's Bear Daly, who's the pastor's wife from Pacific Beach, and one of the youth there. Here's our group, Andy and Powell and Brandon. And that's just kind of doing some painting on the outside of the house after it's all put up. And then, as we talked about, at the end of the day, we circle up with the family, make a big circle and say some parting words, and someone gives a prayer. And then that's the family looking on with Pastor Brian Daly from Pacific Beach. And then so there's the family and some of the workers who, after the house was done. And there's the whole group in the back, and then our crew from the last build. And that's it. You want to go back to Rick? Or did he already cut out?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Any final words, Rick?
Yes. I'm going to say this. I live in Chicago area now, and I've flown back once. I can't always fly back. Lane Beamer, who's one of the leaders, he lives in Austin, Texas. He has a ministry there, a church there. Kevin keeps saying that I'm one of the leaders. Kevin is one of the leaders now and has had to learn to put down his hammer and lead, which is really hard because we're guys that want to work with our hands. But our job is to help everybody else work. And Kevin's doing that now more and more. And I'm grateful that the ministry goes on, even though I'm a couple thousand miles away. And I'm sure grateful for Burbank Church for making it happen, coordinating everything. It's a great ministry, and I'm proud to be part of it, and you should be too.
Very good. And we'll leave that as our prayer to end our talk today. So, Rick, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for your time. And Marina, if you want to take things over.